Renault Kangoo is popular not only in Ukraine, but also abroad. An indirect indicator of success is the long life cycle of the model's production. The first samples found their customers 10 years ago. To maintain stable demand, after 7 years from the start of production, these cars were modernized. The changes affected mainly the front of the car and the dashboard. We often operate cars brought from abroad, converted from cargo versions. Their customs clearance is cheaper. Missing windows are cut into them. Trim, rear seats, etc. are installed in the cabin, giving the car the appearance of a passenger modification. You can determine what kind of car it was originally by the VIN code. In the cargo version, after the VF1 symbols, there is the letter F, and in the passenger version, K. Officially, we also did not sell Kangoo Maxi with an extended rear overhang. Passenger and freight versions can be identified by the presence of side glass windows with opening windows and sliding doors. Expensive cars have side doors not only on the right, but also on the left side of the body. The rear door can be hinged and lifting, opens up. When buying a car, it is better to give preference to versions with the rear lifting door. Its suspension mounts last a long time, and when loading luggage in rain or snow, it will protect you. But in swing doors, locks break over time, which is why they begin to knock unpleasantly on bumps. In addition, cases were noted when the glass of these doors cracked. In passenger versions equipped with the rear left door, the locking mechanism of its lock fails when the gas tank hatch is open. The contact sensor fails in it. Spare part, 400 UAH, work, 100 UAH. This mechanism prevents the filling nozzle from being damaged by the rear sliding door. Kangoo are resistant to corrosion, except that the spare tire fasteners under the trunk floor rust. On pre-styling versions, an ignition key with a built-in immobilizer chip can create problems. A new key costs 415 UAH. With active use, steering column switches can deliver trouble over time due to the closure of contacts. Treatment, disassembling the switch and cleaning it from dust and metal chips. The same periodically needs to be done with the power window buttons. They are badly placed at the bottom of the door pockets, so dirt gets in them, causing the switches to fail. The high position of the front seats often provokes placing something under them, but if there are no pull-out pockets, luggage can easily break the electrical contact of the seat belt pretensioners. An airbag lamp on the instrument panel will indicate a problem. The electrics underwent changes. A modern multiplex bus and a central switching unit, PPM, were used. Despite the rather diverse line of power units designed for Kangoo, only 2 versions are officially sold in Ukraine, a 1.4-liter gasoline and a 1.9-liter naturally aspirated diesel, although it is quite possible to meet versions equipped with other units. A large batch of post-styling Kangoos with a 1.4-liter engine was brought to Ukraine, the fuel system of which was not equipped with a gasoline fine filter. Accordingly, the risk of damaging expensive elements of the system when refueling with low-quality fuel is very high. But so far, according to service workers, there have been no mass appeals of owners with such problems. In all other units, the usual replaceable fuel filter is present. A balanced approach is also desirable to the purchase of gasoline pies imported from abroad. They have a fuel pump and filter made as a single unit, an expensive unit, about 1500 UAH. In principle, it is possible to redesign the system by installing a separate pump and filter, although this will also be expensive. The weak point of versions with air conditioning or climate is the generator pulley with the rubber clutch. Over time, the clutch is deformed, the outer pulley warps, which results in a break in the ribbed belt. Its residues can get under the timing belt and cause engine damage. An unqualified replacement of the timing belt on 16-valve engines, 1.2L and 1.6L, also caused a fatal meeting of valves with pistons. The fact is that the pulleys on the crankshaft have a keyless fit, and if the fixing bolt is not tightened, the pulley can turn. When replacing the timing belt, every 60,000 kilometers, it is also recommended to install a new pump, which usually does not nurse 2-belt service lives. The ignition system of 16-valve engines has an individual coil on each of the cylinders. Coils manufactured before 2004 have a small resource. As operating experience shows, diesel engines do not digest our diesel fuel well. In 1.9-liter engines, the fuel pump injection advance mechanism failed, and in units with direct injection, 1.5 and 1.9 liters, fuel pumps and injectors failed. Other weak points were also noted in the engines. The rear support does not serve for a long time, 30 to 40,000 kilometers. The crankshaft sensor may malfunction. there are problems starting the engine. Often they are solved by cleaning the sensor. Over time, due to corrosion, the radiator of the cooling system loses its tightness. The plastic housing of the thermostat may crack, high-voltage wires fail. This is manifested in the unstable operation of the motor. Most of the cars operated in Ukraine are front-wheel drive, although this model also has all-wheel drive Kangoo 4x4, in which the rear wheels are connected when the front wheels slip with the help of a viscous coupling. True, they are not cheap, so we practically do not have them. 4x's are 5-speed mechanics and 4-speed automatic. The latest modifications are not officially sold with us and, accordingly, are rare. A characteristic weak point of the MCP is the backstage oil seal, which often sweats with oil. Experts advise regularly monitoring this place and driving until a serious lubricant leak appears. Replacing the stuffing box is very laborious. For this it is necessary to dismantle the gearbox. The work will pull 250 UAH. In addition, on new machines, a lubricant leak was noted at the junction of the gearbox housing and the clutch housing. Treatment, disassembly/assembly of the unit with additional application of sealant, labor, about 1000 UAH. It is important to know that the mechanics of Kangoo do not like aggressive driving using engine braking and starting the engine from the pusher. At the same time, cases of breakage of the retaining rings of the gearbox shaft bearings were noted. The oil is designed for the entire service life of the unit, although experts recommend changing the lubricant every 60,000 kilometers for trouble-free operation. External CV joints are made as a single unit with the semi-axle, and if you drive with torn anthers of the semi-axis, this disables the grenades. A unit restored in France under factory conditions costs about 650 UAH. Kangoo's suspension is moderately firm. The front is McPherson type, and the rear is torsion bar. Ball bearings wear out the fastest on our roads, after about 60,000 kilometers. On post-styling versions, ball ones are supplied with levers. You can save money by installing separately the ball machines before modernization, after slightly increasing the mounting holes in the lever. For one side, work, 100 UAH, spare parts, 100 UAH. The struts of the front anti-roll bar nourish 60 to 80,000 kilometers. However, their replacement due to corrosion of the mounting bolts often turns out to be very laborious. But the silent blocks of the front levers can last up to 150,000 kilometers. The rear torsion bar suspension lasts a long time. Moreover, it does not need regular replacement of needle bearings, which is necessary for similar units from competitors Citroën Berlingo and Peugeot Partner. True, during overloads, tubular torsion bars, which act as a stabilizer, can break. If the back sags, then it can return to its usual posture by changing the angle of twist of the torsion bar by several teeth. By the way, the knock in the area of the front of the car is due not only to the wear of the suspension parts, it's cause maybe the guides of the front calipers. Getting rid of the problem is simple. Add grease to the guides. In addition, in the rear drums, the self-advance mechanism of the pads rusts over time. Treatment, disassembly, and lubrication. The steering of most Kangoo is equipped with a power steering, hydro or electro-hydro. The exception is the cheapest truck versions, which are equipped with the conventional mechanical rail. As practice has shown, all types of steering are characterized by characteristic source. So, in rails with the hydraulic booster, lubricant often flows through the electrical connector of the oil pressure sensor that has lost its tightness. In versions with electric hydraulic booster, failures of the electric pump are noted, and the weak point of the mechanical rail is the steering shaft cross. It is not particularly durable. The reason for accelerated wear is the lack of a protective anther and the active influence of dust, dirt, and precipitation on this assembly. To avoid problems, you can take preventive measures by installing a boot from a rail equipped with power steering. On our roads, steering rods can last about 40,000 kilometers, although sometimes they fly out for 15,000 kilometers, and the tips go up to 80,000 kilometers. Renault Kangoo attracts consumers with its high functionality, rather simple design, relatively low cost of the car and its maintenance. Many Kangoos were bought for active use in firms. There, as a rule, they roll out the resource of the main components and assemblies of the car, and then, in order not to get involved with the repair, marifet, and put it up for sale. The main recommendation is to conduct qualified diagnostics at a service station before buying a car, and then weigh whether its cost corresponds to the technical condition and how much money is needed to restore the car.